Our son Jordan was an amazing young man who loved to live life to its fullest. He was zany, I don't know.
He was very special. He had this glimmer in his eye and a sweet, sweet smile, and he had this awareness where when he got close to someone, he could almost, I felt like he could sense their heartbeat because he could connect with them no matter what age.
But Jordan had a mitochondrial deletion syndrome.
That genetics counselor said, you might have 2 weeks or you might have 20 years. There's no cure, there's no treatment. Yeah. And when you get that diagnosis, then like the dream that you had for your family as you know it is over. And that's hard.
We thought we were doing great until January of 2018. He just had an amazing Christmas. We had a new puppy, my parents were out, and then he came down with a fever for 3 days. That fever affected his brainstem. We were there in the hospital 9 days, and that pulmonary physician said, we gotta try and figure this out. I think we have months. Let's see if we can get him to use BiPAP or CPAP at night to keep him from having apnea. But we couldn't get him to wear the mask for that. It was impossible. We did everything. And he was altered and had to be intubated because he quit breathing. Everything that they tried just didn't work. It was decided on February 5th that would be the day that they were gonna take the tube out. After Jordan passed away, we probably spent a few hours as a family with him, and when it finally came time where we knew we would need to leave because we had to get home to the boys, we just struggled mightily. There had been a blanket that had been given to him before he went into respiratory arrest 5 days before that had been on him continuously with his brothers, laying in bed with him and everything, and that was it. That was his smell, his hair. That was all we had to take home with us. And unfortunately, the nurse that had been there with us all day and through that whole process was gone, and a new nurse had come on, and
she was totally indifferent.
Yeah.
And I didn't need or ask a lot from her, but she was indifferent.
So we had tucked him in and covered him with his favorite stuffed animals, and we had the blanket in our arms, and we were kind of standing at the threshold of the ICU door. And, you know, just, it was the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life, to walk out of there. And so as she came in, she looked at us and at him, and she said, "You're taking his blanket?"
In such an accusatory way, like to John, who lost his son, and all he has is this blanket. Yeah. And I was so hurt.
So yeah, we told her that that's all we had of him, and that was a heartbreaking way to have to finally turn and go to the elevator and go downstairs.
His nurse was also caring for another patient, which is usual. The PICU nurses typically take care of 2 patients. And so that nurse, who was Jordan's nurse, was, busy taking care of her other patient. I decided that could never happen again. And so I have a fantastic and wonderful partner in the PICU nurse manager named Alyssa Brown. And I told her the story, and tears were streaming down her face. And she said the same thing, like, oh my gosh, how did we get this wrong? Or what can we do so this never happens again?
As the leader of the ICU, we take a lot of pride in walking families through the worst days of their life. I pulled all of my charge nurses together. We had a huddle about this and came up with JoJo's rule.
JoJo's rule means that every patient at the end of life is staffed as a one-to-one, which means that that nurse is solely with that patient and their family. Then the nurse can just focus on providing that comfort and that support to our families. As a charge nurse, I think implementing JoJo's rule was one of the most amazing things to happen on our unit.
In addition to JoJo's rule, they decided that there needed to be something that families could have for their child at end of life. And so they came up with the blankets.
John had a resolve. I will get blankets in there. I do not want another parent, another father to have to go through that.
I think JoJo's blankets are incredibly helpful. It's the last moments of a child's life, and their little bodies, they're just covered in medicalness. And then there's this one piece of humanity. The blankets, they bring the person into focus. I wrote a letter to JoJo's Foundation about a very specific experience where this person was going to reach the end of their life within, maybe a few minutes. And everyone was just paralyzed with fear and grief, and no one could really move. And then someone brought the blanket in and they put it over his body. And that just broke the tension. And everyone then moved to be there.
They were so grateful for the blankets and just so amazed that another family would think of them in this way. This will probably be the darkest moment in their lives and probably the hardest thing that they will ever go through. And what they saw from that was light, and they saw hope. And I truly think that that's just a priceless gift that you can give to a family. I just can't imagine anything more beautiful than that.
It's our job as caregivers, physicians, nurses, everyone on the team, to really just walk with them and to put your hand out and be available.
Supporting someone through the last part of their stay in the hospital, and the hardest part, in my opinion, from what I've seen over the years, is turning to walk out of the room. I stay with the child while they walk away so that they feel like they're not leaving their kid alone. And that's the piece that matters. Somebody's there with him. She's got him. It's okay for us to go.
It's really important to understand from a parent's point of view that day is a marked memory, and I'll replay it until my final breaths. And so the privilege and opportunity that you as nurses, physicians, and care providers have when you know this is the final day, final hours, and you come in, it's like wet cement has been poured all over that hospital room. And that when you come in, your interaction with the family, that leaves a permanent imprint.
Tell me what you need. Do you need family to come? Who can I call for you? What kind of support do you need? Sometimes it's really just looking someone in the eye or crying with them, because it's heart-wrenching.
Before going in and seeing the patient and giving them the family the blankets, take a deep breath and just take in the gravity of the situation and what this blanket means and what the rule means.
And if you see the front of our box with the JoJo blankets, they have a picture of JoJo that says "Moments Matter." And then there's the pause. And each bullet point on there, just having everyone stop and take a breath and thinking about what they're doing. In the ICU, we run like crazy all the time. And I think having a pause before you walk into a room and resetting and refocusing and being mindful of what that situation is for that family. It's not just another room in the ICU. This is the room of a family who's spending their last days, their last hours with their child.
When our patients and families are going through it, it's very comforting to know that there's someone who's experienced something similar.
Having the blankets is a tool for them to bridge the connection with the families. I had many different reactions. One of the most powerful ones was a mom who has the JoJo blanket hanging over the back of her couch and sent us a letter saying that it's what helps her get up and keep moving every single day. Just the reminder that someone could have this act of kindness toward them when they're themselves going through pain. So as much as the blankets give them something tangible that they can cover their child with, it also gives them some hope that another parent who's been through this, who could possibly muster the courage to make these blankets in honor of their child and bring them back to the hospital in such a selfless way for these other families, gives people hope. The ICU is not for the faint of heart. But there is honor in it if you do it the right way. There's honor in impacting someone's memory of the worst day of their life. There's honor in that.